Hi everybody, TVO coming to you from McIntyre, Vermont, which you can't look up on the internet because it no longer exists. This is a town that has been, but is no more. At one time, Vermont was about 85% clear-cut and 15% forested. And now, in 2014, it's about 95% forested and 5% cleared. Same thing happened with New Hampshire and Maine. They went from being mostly clear in the 1800s and early 1900s to now being almost entirely forest. So a lot of towns have disappeared, vanished. In fact, many of the towns immediately east of Bennington are gone. So when you head east out of Bennington, you come to a few houses in Woodford, which now has a population of a little over 400, but all the towns next to Woodford, Stamford, Glastonbury, Somerset, and McIntyre, which is part of Glastonbury, are empty. And even though this town is now gone, not existent, wiped off the map, the road to get here still exists. So today I want to talk about the paths and roads within us. They used to lead to a destination, but now that destination is gone. But that path, that trail, that road remains as part of our character. And we can still travel down it, even though that destination is no longer there. And this has a special relevance to me today because I woke to a very traumatic experience. My family decided, without telling me, that they were going to defrost the freezer. So they had to take all of the food and other items out of the freezer. The blueberries, the beans, the peas, the squash, and whatnot. And any food item in that freezer went into another freezer that we have. But anything that wasn't a food item went into the backyard in the sun, where it would thaw. And the item in question here was my kitty Chirpa. She's been in the freezer since she passed in December. And I know that sounds crazy, but in Vermont, the ground is frozen until April, and then for April and May we have mud season. So if you have a pet that dies in the winter, you have to freeze them until the ground thaws and then the mud clears before you can bury them. But I got so used to opening up the freezer each day and getting my blueberries for my smoothie and saying hi to her, which I found really comforting, that when the ground finally did get ready for burial, I wasn't ready. Even though she was dead, the fact that I could still talk to her and touch her and see her was really, really comforting for me, because I've had a rough year. And she's always been a source of comfort for me. So continuing to check in with her, even just to look at her fur and just to lay my hand on her for a second, has been hugely valuable to me. So today, waking up and seeing her in the backyard thawing out just killed me. I totally broke down. I was not ready to deal with that, but life doesn't often wait for us to get ready. In fact, life never waits for us to get ready. Life just does what it does and says, deal with it. So today I had to deal with it, and I had to bury her, and I had to say goodbye forever. Not just to her life, but now to the possibility of even seeing her outside of a photograph. And that was really hard. So I got on my mountain bike, and I've been processing here in the woods for a couple hours now as I ride. And one of the things that really struck me was that I was biking into this town that no longer exists. It was once a place where people lived, and there were children laughing and playing, and there were people having gardens and building homes and playing cards and drinking and whatever that people do. There were lives here, and now they're gone. But the road remains, and I was using that road. And even though Chirpa is now gone, never to be seen again, the roads and paths within me still exist. She affected me, she touched me in such a profound way that it changed who I am as a man. She taught me how to love in a way that I didn't know was possible. She showed me that love is a real thing, that I can be a loving man, that I can be a generous man, that I can be a caretaker consistently, regardless of what's going on with the being that I care about, regardless of how old they get or how hideous they may be as they go through some disease or illness or injury, that my love remains constant and strong and unflinching. she not only taught me that, but she built that pathway in me. And I can still travel down that pathway. It will no longer lead to the destination Chirpa. But just like this road through the woods, traveling down that road, down that path, is a beautiful experience. Even if the destination is no longer there, the road itself becomes the destination. I'm having a beautiful time just riding through the woods on this road, trail or stream, whatever it's descended into. And the saying goes with Chirpa, as long as I remember, I keep that road alive. And to me, that's what remembrance is. It's not about keeping a person alive or keeping a thing alive. It's about keeping the path alive. It's about keeping the changes within you alive. Chirpa affected me. She changed me. She built a road in me. And that's what remembrance is. It's about going down that path, down that road. So as I was cranking up the hill, I'm thinking a lot about this concept of remembrance, or the act of remembering, moving down the paths within us that no longer have destinations. But it's an experience within us that we travel down. We go back and we experience that character. And it takes effort. So I was thinking about that word, remember. In Latin, it means to be mindful again. Member has the same Latin root as memory, and re means again. So it's basically to bring up a memory again, or to be mindful again. To be mindful again. Like the practice of mindfulness. To really get in and experience that path. What is it that Chirpa gave me? What did she make me feel? How was that experience? Can I be mindful of that experience? Can I recreate those sensations by traveling down that path within me to create that mindfulness? Not of her, but of my experience of her? And this thinking led me down the rabbit hole of thinking about other words that are similar to remember. You've got recall, to call back. You've got revoke, which is to call back. You've got repeal, which is to call back. And repeal comes from re, meaning again, and peel from upheal, or appeler in French, or if you go back to the Latin, it means pulse or drive. Appeal, a pulse. So it's something that calls to you. When you find something appealing, it drives you. It puts a pulse in you. There's a beat inside of you. It gets your heart beating. When you find somebody appealing, they call you back. They make you want to look again. You want to give them a second glance. You want to turn around and go back and say hi, because they're appealing. They drive you. They've got that pulse beating in you. So to repeal, to feel that pulse again, to feel that drive again. So to me, that's really what remembering is. And that's what this experience is about today for me. To not simply remember Chirpa's face, or to remember something that we did together, or how she sat on my lap when I was working on the computer, but to bring that pulse back, to bring that drive back, to repeal, to bring back the experience. What about it was so appealing? What moved me? What does that road look like? Where does that road lead now? Is it overgrown with trees? Is there a stream running through it? When was the last time I moved down that road within me, that I felt that pulse, that I felt that drive, that I felt that experience? That's what I'm doing today. I'm out here not mourning, but I'm out here repealing. I'm out here feeling the beat as I pump my legs up the mountain, just like a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. And I find it rather amusing that this experience is happening on a Wednesday. People say that word all the time, it's Wednesday, but they don't know what that word means. Wednesday comes from the German Wodensday. And Woden is a Germanic god, similar to Odin for Norwegians, and Odin in the Danish culture. It's like a German Scandinavian god. We'll just call him Odin or Woden. But this is his day. He was the father of the gods, Thor's father, if you're into the Marvel comics and whatnot. So Woden's Day is Wednesday. And the name of this god, Woden, comes from the German root Wod, W-O-D, which means to blow, or to inspire, or to spiritually arouse. So Wednesday, or Odin's Day, is the day to be inspired or spiritually aroused. That's what the day is. That's what the word means. The day of spiritual inspiration, arousal, remembrance, repealing. So as I continue my repeal through the woods of what used to be McIntyre, I hope that this has some value to you and you find some paths within yourself that you too can repeal and feel that spiritual arousal, feel that pulse, that drive, that beat that you can connect to again. The destination may be gone, but the path remains. Drive down that path and see what shows up. I'm sure it'll be an extraordinary experience, as it has been for me. I love you. Bye.